Hi, I'm Ross Callaghan, and I've just finished making another model. This time it's a model bus, not a model ship. This is the Bedford SB3. It was built between the 1950s and 1970s and very widely used within New Zealand. Now, it has sentimental value for me because I used to go to school on a bus like this. And you might remember that I made a model ship, the Toroa, a ferry that I first of all went on this bus, then I caught the ferry to go to school. That's why this model sort of complements my model of the Toroa. So as with all of my models, this video will show you all of the stages that I went through in building the Bedford bus. Started with an internet search for plans, came up with this one. Unfortunately, it isn't quite like the bus that I was hoping for. It's all different at the front here. And so that didn't quite get it right. So I then did an AI search and asked it to actually draw me a plan. It came up with this, which was even worse. So that left me with a reasonable plan, and I decided to then do a scratch build based on photographs. I decided to build the model from the bottom up. So I started here with the underbody and did the wheel arches, all based on my plan here. Then I made some sides and the floor, so it would come together like this. Found some wheels, just the right size, so that's good. It's all been relatively square so far, but now I've got to do these curved bits, both at the front and at the back, so a little bit more complicated there. Well, I worked out a way of doing the curves using fairly stiff cardboard to go around the corners there. And then I've created the floor here, which will fit nicely there on top. And we're ready for the next stages. So basically at this stage I've created a framework for the outer skin of the model, and I'll be able to take it now up to the top there of the sides, which is where the windows start. Next step was to put the sides on and then make sure that the floor all fits nicely, which it does. I'm a great believer in not trying to have to paint internal surfaces, so I'm using a piece of card here rather than painting, and it sort of makes the whole thing look better, I reckon. Now I'm moving to the front of the bus. I've already created my framework here upon which the outer skin will be placed like that, and I've used photographs of the front of the bus to try and get the exact shape of the windows and how they're going to fit in here. You can see it isn't necessarily easy to just get the shape exactly right so that it will fit, and then the front fits like this. This is the first time I've done curves in two directions, this direction and this direction, and not many materials want to go in two directions at once, so all of this is quite a big learning curve, like that. So I've now got the front of the model pretty much to shape. I'm starting to plan how I'm going to do the next phase up, which is up to the window level. To get wood to bend around corners like this is very difficult, so I'm using 4 layers of card and then I've reinforced it with some wood on top, and that is making the basic outline for the window frames. Next, I worked out the exact shape and size of the windows and created the frames there which will support those windows. And my bit goes on top here like that. Everything has to be absolutely exact or it won't fit. Now I got the back of the bus made and the other side there for the window frames. Then I started to make the windows. I decided to use card on cellophane and have worked out the exact shape and size that's going to fit each of the window frames. So I've now got quite a few windows to build. Then one of the final stages in the model will be, once everything's painted, I'll be putting these windows in place and gluing them in. And I'm starting to plan how I'm going to make the curved surfaces that will go on the top of the bus. The curves at the front are pretty tricky, so I've decided to build it up with layers of balsa and then whittle it away to get the shape. You can see that that way I can get my curves going in two different directions at once. Using this method, the curves have come out pretty well, I reckon. I'll need to do a bit of filling just to make everything smooth. And I'm experimenting with making a little sign that'll go on the front to show the bus's destination. Then I bent some cardboard to make the top of the bus on the roof there. Just make sure it fits perfectly. The curves at the back here are the most difficult part of the build, I reckon, because they go in two directions. And so I've decided to use the same system as I used at the front of building it up with balsa, then sanding it so that I can get the two directions reasonably smooth. I decided to do this by building up layers of balsa on the actual frame of the model rather than on the roof, and so that they would come up here and join with the roof so that I could get the angles right. Now in this one here I tried to shape the thing as I was doing it, and in this one I didn't bother. I'll do the shaping afterwards, and actually this is the best system because it's much easier to shape balsa afterwards with a knife and with sandpaper than it is to try and work out angles as you are building it. So that goes on there, and then just more layers here of balsa as to build up that curve around to the roof. So now I've got enough layers on there, and I'm going to whittle it down to shape. I really do think that this is the best way. Put plenty on and then shave it off and sand it down to get your shape. And the end result, after lots of whittling, shaving, sanding, looks pretty good. You get the correct angles there. Next is to paint it and fill it. Paint, fill, sand. Paint, fill, sand from now on. Next step was to make the seats for the bus, and I'm starting to get them together now. I decided I'd try and make them as authentic as possible, so they're padded with like that, and got the colour to make it look like brown leather as well. And they go in there, and then I have to do the cockpit here before the roof can go on. So, good progress, but still quite a bit to go. Well, a little bit later, and now everything is in the cockpit. Tried to make it as realistic as it can, but
All that has to happen now is to put a steering wheel on there, which my grandson is 3D printing. So quite exciting to get the roof on next.
With the roof finally on, I put a coat of paint over the whole of the bus, and then it's a case of filling to get everything smooth, and that's what I'm doing now, and it's coming together quite nicely. All the joints end up being quite smooth, and then I'll be able to sand them to make it all smooth. Really feels like the bus is coming together nicely now. Filling all the holes.
Well, they say that love covers a multitude of sins. I must say that so does filler. With the filler, you really can get a very nice surface. Next stage was putting on the front panels there. Quite difficult to get everything lined up just right. And the windows, of course, will then be slotted into the gaps.
I really do like this system for getting a nice surface on the model. So I apply filler, I sand it, I get it nice and smooth, then paint it, more filler, more sanding, more painting, and I've done that 3 times now, and the surface is really lovely, really is. So I'm now going to put the last couple of coats of paint on in preparation for the top coats. Really, really, really good way of doing it.
Well, I'm now up to what is probably the most difficult part of the build, and that is putting in these windows. Everything now is finished inside, and I've done the paint for the top half of the bus there, because the windows will be going over the top of it. Done a few of the decorations that go around the bottom, and starting to get the wheels in place as well. So, getting closer to the end now. I've tried different materials for the windows, and I've come up with clear cellophane, but it's a real difficult to get it a glue that will adhere to it. So I've decided to use double-sided tape and attach the cellophane to that, and then the frames for the windows go over the top of them, again with double-sided tape. This whole build is really a matter of trial and error, and I hope that this particular solution for the windows is going to work. Soon find out, I suppose.
I reckon they've come out pretty well. I've always known that this part here, the front windows, is going to be really, really tricky. So there's been many goes at making a template here for the window frames, because it has to fit absolutely perfectly, like that. And then getting the cellophane inside it so that it is attached using the double-sided tape.
But I was able to get it on, just. So there you are. The front windows are finally in place.
Well, a lot of progress since last time. Got all of the windows on, and the rear windows, side windows, and the front windows, and I've also put the entrance door in as well. Decided to do it in the colours of New Zealand Railways, which used these buses in the 1960s and 70s. I find that when I'm painting, it's very hard to get a nice straight line. So what I do is I paint up to the line, then I get a piece of card like this, put it over the gap, and it just makes it look so much tidier and professional. So I'll be doing that as the next phase in the build. Getting towards the end now, just have to put all the various things on the outside. And because this is a scratch build, I make the decisions as to what I put on. So for example, the headlights here are made out of party decorations. Surrounding the headlights, that's from some lolly papers. The bumpers, they are made out of metal that I found on the side of the road from the road cleaner. And all of the decorations here with thin cardboard, they're made out of old calendars. So you just have to find whatever you can and make it look as authentic as possible.
Well, finally, the bus is finished. Got all the various little bits and pieces on. And I'm very happy with it.
So there you are, the Bedford SB3 bus. I hope you've enjoyed my video. It certainly has been a pleasure building this bus. It took me about 3 months. And it was very, very challenging. I suppose all scratch builds are challenging, but this one was particularly so. Still, I reckon it's turned out to be a really nice model.